Hello, my favorite people in the whole entire world. It's rivers. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that happened to me, and I want you to listen really carefully. So, back in December of 2008, I would have been 57, no, I don't know, 52 years old. At that time, I was given an opportunity, a church calling, to go out to Salt Lake County Metro for 3 hours every Sunday for a period of 3 years. And while I was out there every Sunday, either in the morning or in the afternoon, I was to minister amongst the inmates there. They called each other Cellies. I love that. Maybe you feel like you're a Cellie in your home. But at any rate, my fellow Cellies, I had these wonderful opportunities. I'm going to be telling you lots of stories and calling them tales from the jail. But I want to tell you about something that I did quite a bit of while I was out at the jail for these 3 years. A lot of the inmates and some of the classes that I taught, and also inmates in maximum security, would sometimes ask me for a blessing, a priesthood blessing. They would say, "Brother Steve, would you give me a blessing? I need one." And the needs were, obviously, they're incarcerated. Life isn't very pleasant out at County Metro Jail. But there was one problem. The problem is that we volunteers were told over and over, do not touch or have physical contact with the inmates. Now, as you know, when you get a blessing, whoever's giving your blessing, they put their hands on your head. You physically rest them on the head. And so that created a little bit of a problem. So with the inmates in my Sunday school classes, I would, at the end of the meeting or at the end of my lesson, I said, "Is there anybody who would like a priesthood blessing?" And almost always there was a lot of people who wanted this priesthood blessing. And so what I did was I put my hands over their head, and then there was about this much air between my hands and their head because I was not to touch them. And I just want you to know that I had some really wonderful spiritual experiences as I gave these priesthood blessings. And I even had a guard who asked me before entering into maximum security, he said, "Brother Steve," he says, "I see you giving priesthood blessings to some of these inmates. Would you give me one?" And I didn't know this guard very well, but I asked him, I said, "I would be honored to do so." And so we went into a little side room, and I was able to put my hands on his head because he wasn't an inmate. And I gave him a priesthood blessing, which I found out was pretty unusual. None of the people I worked with as volunteers out at County Metro had done that before. But I wanted to tell you how I gave priesthood blessings to the men, to the Cellies inside either Supermax or maximum security. And so in the old movies, you had jail cells with bars going up and down. Well, this wasn't the case. There was plexiglass. And so, you couldn't have direct physical contact with them anyway, because there was this door, this plexiglass door in front of you that opened or shut. Now, it was never open when we were there. They were all in their cells, and we just went cell to cell. And what happened was that sometimes an inmate would say, Brother Steve, would you give me a blessing? And I always agreed to doing that. And what I would do is I would put my hand against the plexiglass, and then on the other side of the plexiglass, the inmate would put his forehead where my hand was, and then I would pronounce a blessing. And I have to tell you, I think every single time that I gave one of these blessings in maximum security, I felt God's love. And I felt the Spirit very strongly, even though there was no physical contact. You know, there was just this plexiglass in my hand. And I just want you to know, my favorite people, that priesthood power is real. And when you get old enough, you'll be able to get the Aaronic priesthood and to my grandsons, and get the Melchizedek priesthood when you're 18 or 19. And I have given hundreds of blessings to all of my kids throughout the decades that I've been a parent. And there have been times when I have felt, especially in the last 10 or so years, when I've felt the presence of my dad. And I think that he participated in some of these blessings. And I just want you to know that I would be honored anytime to give you a blessing. And I just want you to know that it's because I love you, and it's because of this wonderful family connection that we have. And I am grateful that I have the opportunity to give Father's blessings, priesthood blessings. I've given a lot of priesthood blessings over the years, and I have felt Heavenly Father's love for the person I've given those blessings to, and I've especially felt it as I have given priesthood blessings to Queenie, to all of my kids, to some of my their spouses, and I would love to have the honor, with your parents' approval, of course, to give you a blessing, and that you can participate in this wonderful priesthood activity. So I just want you to know how much I love you and how grateful I am for the priesthood that I hold. And I love the ability to utilize that priesthood to bless other people's lives. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.